Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Diary of a Trainee Psychological Wellbeing Practitioner, the Diary of a Trainee PWP, and this is week 10, episode 10, all about week 10. And this week was more of a bank holiday, Easter break, and not much in terms of like uni, but what I'm going to be sharing you is some of the professional experiences and some of the learning curves that I learned this week. So one of the things, let me start with obviously I mentioned previously about the challenge that we face in terms of balancing and making sure our two diaries, uni clinical work, are hand in hand, so that we can feel more organized and managing our time properly. And that's pretty much sort of what I wanted to also share. A lot of time management, something that if we were to master, we will be able to achieve so much even in short periods of time. It really takes a lot of time to master, but it's something we need to consistently and continuously work on. So, for example, like the usage of, let's say, Gmail and Outlook in terms of your scheduling. So with Gmail, Outlook, Microsoft Outlook, making sure that, when you want to schedule in something, you make sure that you've got these reminders, notifications. For example, there's so many different apps out there. I use my Samsung calendar app sometimes to make sure that I've got everything. I always put it on my calendar so that it can remind me now. Yeah, for the last, almost 6 weeks now, I've been using the Todoist. That's a brilliant app, wonderful app. You guys should check it out. That really helps me to complete tasks. I used to use Trello, if anybody's heard of Trello. Use it now and then. It's been a while since I haven't used it, maybe about 2 months, but Trello is also good. Todoist, I'm finding it really helpful because when you finish 5, it literally pops up with a with like a kind of like pops up with this recognition or this like a well done type of pop-up. I really love this UX stuff that it's got in this app. So just if you finish like 5 tasks, it pops up with like a well done recognition, like a star, well done, you finished 5 tasks. And that helps. That's it really helps. It kind of it's like some type of a positive reinforcement. So the more the positive behavior, the more reward you find from a positive behavior, the more you want to do more. So it's really pushing you to continue being more productive. It really does help. So anyway, that was particularly number one. And number two, this was quite an interesting one, and that was there was a training that I had to go for. It was about basic life supports, and this one I had to go on site. So just behind the Moseley Hospital, or part of the Moseley Hospital, at the back end, they have like a learning center, and I was just amazed. Bear in mind I'm fasting, but I enter and I can. As you enter, it's got this amazing vibe in this place. You enter and it's like the cafe over there. I can smell the croissant. So literally the coffee, like the aroma of coffee and bakery is just a big thing for me. So I was like, it was a tough one because I was like, I need to come here when I'm not fasting. It was amazing because it really has a very university kind of like, it has a very academic vibe or a training vibe, like a very studying, a learning vibe to it. Like so modern. The building is so modern, like the seatings, the areas for sitting. It's got this modern vibe to it. So anyway, I was already late and, I made it like maybe 10, 15 minutes late, but unfortunately, actually, no, I made it about, to be frank, I made about 20 minutes, maybe close to half an hour late. And unfortunately, so I booked in for the morning. They've got 2 trainings every day. They've got 2 sort of like batches a day. They've got the morning and they got the afternoon. Unfortunately, the lady told me we've got a cap, 15 minutes. I'm sorry, I cannot let you in. And I'm thinking to myself, well, what am I going to do now? So I had to go all the way to the clinic. It was on a Thursday. I had to go all the way to Deptford. I was asked to come to Deptford. And then I had to, fortunately, I managed to finish at least 2 online modules, and then I managed to go back, got accepted. I told her, by the way, I came early this morning. I told the trainer, I was like, I came early this morning. He said I could come down. It's like, yeah, no problem. Just sign up. Signed up, and it was it was a nice day, to be honest, because the trainer herself was so funny. Like the acting that she did, so basic life support is like what happens when, what in in an emergency situation when a person is on the floor, for example, what are you going to do? An adult, child, or a baby, what are you going to do? How do you call for help? How do you use a defibrillator. They call it a defib or something, a defibrillator. It was amazing. It was amazing. But her acting was a brilliant. Like, I really had to admit, like, she was just, it was funny and engaging, and we all got an opportunity. It was really fun, and it was it was a really fun training, to be honest. And it's one thing I wanted to also, in terms of a learning curve, one thing I learned was, okay, being on time, managing your diary, managing your timetable, managing your schedules, using whatever tools that are built, use Todoist, use Trello to help you to achieve and accomplish tasks and finish tasks, setting tasks, reminding yourself, calendars that you have, whatever it may be. One thing a learning curve, which was, I think, so, I tend to get a little bit stressed out sometimes. I remember I had my supervision that week, and it was a bit like I had not completed a certain target, or I had not reached a certain target that we set. And I was a bit worried as to what she might say. And, being Ramadan, it is not easy, but I did my level best to get things sorted. But there were some challenges sometimes. But, I had all of this worst case scenario going on in my head. So I was spiraling, I won't lie. And one thing I learned, and here's a tip. One thing I learned, and I mentioned this in my blog, and I want to mention this in this video, and that is, just remember that there are things you can control and change, and there are things you cannot control and change. That's the reality. Some things you can control, and for those things that you can control, do your level best to do what you can things you can control. Focus on that, and do your level best. Do the best that you can. We all have our limitations, but do your best. And the things that you can't control, there's really no point worrying about them. Sometimes you're just going to have to face the music. You're going to have to be responsible for your actions. If you've made a mistake, you have to own up to it. And just try your best to learn from it and allow yourself to grow. Learning equals to growing. And I guess it's more about, don't overstress on things that you cannot control. Do your level best. If you can control something, work hard in that. And if you cannot control it, then that's why there's an interesting exercise usually used in positive psychology, but you can also use it for anyone. So, and that really helps. Take a paper, fold it in half. On one side, you write what it is you can control, and then on the other side, write everything you cannot control. Write it down, bullet point them, and whatever. List them down, bullet point them in numbers or bullet points, whatever it is you want to do, and look at them both. And focus on what you can control. Whatever you can't control, you can't control it. You have no control in it. If you can't control it, then there's no point worrying about it. Try to just focus, put your focus and your attention on what you can control. Try to get whatever you can done to your level best. And I guess the most important thing is, we do overstress, but it's important to learn not to overstress in things that we cannot control. It goes back to practical and hypothetical worry. It really goes back to that. And that's something that I can, mention. Concluding for the week, all I can say is that, Thursday was that, and, had my training. It was really nice. Friday, I was shadowing one of my mentor or my buddy. We all have mentors and buddies that that have been assigned to us. And, I was shadowing a behavioral activation treatment session. That was nice. It was good to get that, get to see how that's like. And pretty much we're preparing ourselves for the tours, which is in the following week, or the next week, and the next episode. Week 11. We'll talk more about the tours.